So that would be your strategy then to deal with that kind of ridiculous scrutiny, is to really just kind of try not to pay any attention to it?
That would be my advice. Yeah, I mean, in a second Trump administration, I'm sure they're going to come down hard. You know, a lot of people forget just how hard they go after you because I see a lot of right-wing people on TV now, and they talk very big and they talk about all these things they're going to do and all, and I just think, ooh, they're kind of forgetting what it's like. You know, they might be over promising and under delivering, whereas I'd rather just remain quiet, plan, think it through, and when the opportunity comes, seize the moment. So I think it's a better idea to just ignore the left-wing media. You probably have to engage with them if you're the president or the candidate because you need your message heard. But if you're a staffer, you should just be focused on your job completely.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice. I mean, I find that as a political commentator, I mean, most of the flack that I've had a few hit pieces written on me in my time, but a lot of it really just comes from trolls on Twitter. And, I think to myself, why would anyone care what, Betty 12345 with an egg for a profile picture thinks of me or anyone else? You know what I mean? You just got to kind of treat them with the absolute disdain that they deserve and move on. So I think that's, very sound advice. Now, we've talked a lot about Trump 2024. We are in an election year. It is a crucial election. What do you think Donald Trump has to do to win the election this year?
Well, I don't think he needs any advice from me. I think he's won before and he can do it again. But I would just think if he leans into his strengths, I think it's his for the taking. He's seen as the law and order person. People think crime's out of control. You lean into that, people want it. The border's out of control. He's seen as someone that's tough on the border. He's seen as the wall person. You lean into that, you win. There's a lot of instability overseas. He was the peace president. You lean into that, you lean into all these strengths, and I think he'll be successful in November. I don't really have any particular advice. I think his campaign's doing a great job. They're obviously dominating the primary, and hopefully that translates also into the general. But I think his message should be, someone said it the other day, better under Trump, and just make people realize they were better under Trump. And come November, that hopefully will work.
Hopefully, because people were better under Trump. I mean, that is the cold, hard fact. And yep, he is dominating the primaries. He's also doing very well in the polls, whatever we can glean from polls. So I think you're right. If he leans into his strengths, then he's got a really, really good shot. Now, just before we go, coming back to Project 2025, can you tell us a bit about Schedule F?
Yeah, that gets a lot of attention. That's just one of many things available to the next administration as a tool to use to kind of take on the bureaucracy. When you get in government, beforehand, you don't realize just how vast the bureaucracy is. And a lot of people call it the call it the deep state. We call it the DMV state. It's just bureaucracy on steroids. It's very hard to get things done. If you have a strong leader like Donald Trump, he can kind of right the ship a little bit, but he needs a lot of tools and a lot of people to help in order to fully right the ship. Because when you're voting for president in America, you'd think, well, I voted for this person. That's it. They're in charge. And unfortunately, that's not really the case because you're fighting with your own executive branch. 99.8% of them or something like that can't be fired or removed.
Oh, wow.
So, if you're the CEO running a company, but you don't have the authority to even remove your employees, it's difficult to manage. So it's just thinking about creatively how you take on the bureaucracy and do it in a thoughtful way. I think training the political appointees ahead of time, just how to act and how to work in the environment, is super helpful. I don't think there needs to be, mass firings or anything like that. But I think taking on the bureaucracy is going to be a big issue, taking on the administrative state, as people call it. And you need every tool at your disposal to do that.
Well, I think you're 100% right about taking on the bureaucracy. I mean, that was a lot of the trouble that Trump faced when he first came into power was, he thought everyone would have his back, but then it turned out he had this cesspool of just layers and layers and layers of people, faceless people, just trying to undermine him. So, yeah, I think that's a worthy initiative, taking on that bureaucracy to clear the way.